times the cultural and religious differences also determine who gets involved with what. You have outliers in every community who break the rules and make changes that normally would not happen as a result of them being women. But what I witnessed was young women who were strong and dedicated and willing to do the work beyond the call of duty, to make a difference in their communities, whether it was supporting in evacuating people when there were floods, for example, or helping to escort elderly people to some of the health screenings that we did, whether it was the cleanups where it wasn't just the able-bodied young men who were getting involved, but also the young women. I think in many ways, being a female parliamentary candidate at the time inspired many young women to just go ahead and do it and not look at themselves and think, oh, but I'm a woman and there's a man there who could do it, And in some ways, we forced some of the gender stereotyping aside, because it's quite interesting though, because just talking about gender stereotyping, there were many times when I had to remind some of the men on the team that don't forget your parliamentary candidate is a woman. You're speaking as though I'm a man. I'm not a man. So let's at least have that respect for women. Let's have that recognition of the fact that women are capable. I'm not different from other women. The women there have children, I have children, maybe I'm a bit smaller than some of the ladies, but the point is not to stop seeing that the candidate was a woman was a big challenge as well, because as you are all aware as women in the various institutions, we're still having to deal with the fact that unfortunately, to a large extent in many areas, it's still a man's world, and we still have to fight to even be acknowledged for what we do. We have to work almost 10 times as hard at times to be given the credit that men would receive for doing a lot less. So I think we still have a long way to go, but I'm happy to be here because it says that we're making a lot of progress. This has been an all-day event, so I would like to acknowledge Charterhouse for this very courageous move, and I hope that it will be an ongoing event. Since I was a child, I didn't get given preferences because I was a girl. I had to do everything on merit, and whatever it was that I was taught, whatever it was I had to do, I never thought of it in the sense that, oh, because I'm a girl, it will be made easier for me. However, if we are to achieve that objective of having equal representation at some point, because mind you, the Affirmative Action Bill doesn't talk about 50-50. It's still a ratio that's much less than that. If we're ever to achieve that objective of having a balanced representation in society, we need to just allow more women in. Now, what we need to do as women to ensure that the quality of women who are making it into these positions is to ensure that we are enriching our knowledge and helping those around us who would like to get into such areas to improve upon themselves. Because yes, the purpose of this is to get as many women in. Let me just flip that a little bit. Not all the men you see in public office or in various positions are that great. If we were to use the same standard by which men get appointed, by which they get into positions, a lot more women would get in. So if I appreciate the fact that we want quality and we want the best women to get through, but the reality is, if you look at the men, we don't have only the best men getting through. So are we going to make the rules a little harder for ourselves? There are more women in Ghana than there are men. We have enough women who can equally represent the interests of society, because the reality is where you have more women, you have a balanced representation, whether it's in peace building. If you're doing anything to do with conflict resolution and you have women on the panel, you have a more lasting outcome of peace. So women have a vital role to play. And so much as I am big on the issue of getting there by merit, for now, in order to ensure that we have that balance, we need more women to get through. And I'm quite sure the women are available. We have a lot of very well qualified women who could easily fill those slots. So yes, I am pushing for that kind of representation, and I think it's only fair. And I think that if we were to have a lot more women represented in the various arms of government, as well as in the private sector and everywhere else, issues regarding domestic violence and the sexual abuse and defilement of our young girls would not be as awful as they are right now, because we would have a lot more women fighting for the rights of our young children.